Reform movements flourished through the 1830s and 1840s. As Ralph Waldo Emerson put it, there was not a reading man without a plan for a utopian community in his waistcoat pocket.
Utopian communities were formed outside of mainstream America, usually in rural areas in the countryside. There were two kinds of communities. One was religious, like the Shakers, or the Oneida Perfectionists, or they were more secular, like Brook Farm.
The types of utopian communities in 19th century America varied widely. Brook Farm in Massachusetts and Harmony, Indiana, sought to build high-minded, economically cooperative communities. The radical Oneida community in New York State preached artisanship and free love. The Shakers, led by Mother Ann Lee, prohibited sex altogether. Americans even turned to fad diets to reform their bodies. One of the most popular and longest-lasting regimens was a diet of whole wheat crackers promoted by Sylvester Graham. Religious revivals burned hot in these decades as newly zealous congregants saw it as their role to right the social evils they saw around them.
The 19th century religions tended to be more optimistic, the idea that God was basically loving. You could do certain things to make sure that you go to heaven, and you could also improve the world around you.
Reformers promoted public schools and higher education for women and men. Idealistic Christian reformers like Dorothea Dix crusaded against cruel conditions in prisons and asylums. Women demanded the right to vote, the right to own property, and the right to work in the professions. Some radicals kept their maiden names, others insisted on leaving the term obey out of their marriage vows. Women were also at the forefront of the largest reform movement, encouraging men to take the pledge not to drink.
Drinking had an enormous impact on women since very often they were the victims of drunken husbands and boyfriends and fathers who would come home and beat them. It was an attempt to protect women from abuse.
Abolition became the most passionate crusade of all, and eventually eclipsed all other reform movements. Christians, women, utopians, and many others worked together to end slavery. Ultimately, their agitation over this issue would shake the nation to its core.